about how something without substance can fill empty space from this Taoist principle, this paradox that reality, eternity, actually takes no space. It's without substance. It's not a thing. It's beyond that limitation of things. This is why, again, by focusing on principles that are vast and immensely powerful, it changes our perceptions, it changes our consciousness. Everything changes. So this is, again, is that willingness, the conscious dying, willing to surrender, willing to be changed. Again, we have that capacity. Feminine, the divine feminine in each of us has that capacity to surrender, to open, to allow. The power, the unstoppable power of, again, this thing we're talking about is so expansive, is so vast, that as we deepen our relationship with it, as we allow it to use us as its mechanism, we learn. We're being trained, just like when you were a child and you were taught things by your parents, taught things in school. You were trained to think a certain way, and basically, they say, I remember in the Magical Child work of Joseph Chilton Pierce, they say by the time a child is 7, the mechanism of conditioning has altered the brain, the consciousness, to the point where, okay, now it's the person is being trained to be a useful cog in the machine of society. So our work with conscious dying is to, again, accept and appreciate that conditioning was necessary. That was what people thought, that we want to train our children to be useful cogs in the machine of society, that there's something more. And many of us knew that by the time we were in our 30s or 40s. I mean, for me, it started quite young. But there's a part of us, that which we might call the soul, which knows that, well, there's something more. It's not just this. It's not just fitting in as a cog in the machine of society. That's important. There's something that's much more important. And so we're drawn to nature, many of us. And this is, again, what Taoism is totally focused on, nature as the preeminent teacher of what is real. I mean, nature is just incredibly abundant. I was just walking yesterday. We've been having a lot of rain lately. So nature here right now, there's, I mean, it just amazes me how much plant life there is, the vast variety of plant life in this environment here in Ecuador as compared to other places I've lived. It's amazing. It's sort of like being in the jungle, but we're not in the jungle, we're up in the mountains. But there's so much verdancy, right? That's a great word, verdancy. So much green. And green is such an amazing color in nature because there's just like infinite varieties of green. And yeah, just to be aware as we go through our day, to be aware of the spectacular abundance that's all around us. So again, time is one place we can focus on. Beauty is another place we, if you look at these divine principles, these are portals into the vastness of reality. And our study, our practice, our daily practice ideally exposes us to the vastness of reality. And I know from my experience that this meditation, this contemplation, this practice allows our lives to radically change. You know, we don't actually change our lives by manipulating the structures. That's the illusion. But how we really change our lives is by shifting our awareness, allowing our consciousness to become that much more expansive, and then allowing the natural abundance, for example, to become the dominant force in our lives. And so we see, for an example, we see abundance become manifest. Okay, it's radically true in my experience, and I hope that for you, if it's not yet a full reality, that there's a distinct possibility that this reality of abundance might become the dominant theme in your experience as a being in this world. Because again, this is what there's a list. Maybe I'll share. Well, maybe I'll share it tomorrow. But as we're being trained to fulfill our function, our destiny as masters in this world, we are those who are listening. You have that capacity to be one of these 1,000 points of light. That is the salvation of our world, right? I mean, so here in A Course in Miracles, I'm learning things like there is no death, and things like, so, there's the denial of the illusion, and then the affirmation of the truth, which is like, you are the light of the world. Or the lesson actually is, I am the light of the world. So imagine saying that repeatedly in whatever form. There's lots of ways to say that same truth, I am the light of the world. But this is literally this type of meditation, this type of mantra, this type of affirmation is what will allow each of us to step into mastery. That becoming a master is the normal process of any awakened consciousness, not something special. No, it's the normal. The new normal. So in a new earth, yes, the new normal is that there's a whole bunch of masters that are establishing sort of the ground rules of existence. And this is what we're called to do. This is what's happening. The world is slowly cracking open to this reality, manifesting fully through us, and becoming eventually the new normal. So